It's Palm Sunday, and the battle's begun. Christ has triumphantly marched into Jerusalem, proclaimed himself as king, and the light of the world is facing off the powers of darkness. You know, there was a saint who understood very well the battle of light versus darkness and the power of the light. St. Patrick, when he first came into Ireland, faced off the Druids. The Druids were very powerful individuals that enslaved all the people of Ireland with their magic, their tricks, their deceit, and especially their darkness. In fact, they even had a feast of darkness, in which they would tell the people that they had to put out all of their fires and anything that would produce light, so that the whole land was bathed in darkness. And they would go into this castle with the king, and they would light this fire that they called the fire of darkness. So what did St. Patrick do? He went right by the castle and built the biggest, brightest, baddest fire he could build. So bright and so big that the Druids became so angry. And they went to the king and they begged him to send soldiers to go put it out. And they did. But they couldn't put it out. They couldn't get near Patrick and they couldn't get near the fire. Christ, the light of the world, is more powerful than the powers of darkness. And he wins every time. You know, there's another individual who understood deeply the power of Christ's light because she personally experienced it. Every Holy Week, I like to choose an individual that I can walk with, that I can accompany through the different things that happen during Holy Week. And I always choose some biblical character. So this year, I decided to choose someone that wasn't even there, but someone that actually I thought I could really identify with. It's the Samaritan woman. The Samaritan woman probably was not in Jerusalem during the events of Holy Week. But the Samaritan woman had encountered that light in her life, and it made her an apostle to her own people. She had spent time at the well, just an hour, a brief hour with Christ, where he told her everything that she had ever done. And she saw that light so bright that she went into her own town and she said, "Come see the man that told me everything I did." And she did such a good job of missioning to her own people, to her own town, to her own home, that all those people came to Christ in droves. And they wouldn't let him leave for 2 or 3 days. So what does St. Patrick and the Samaritan woman have to do with us in Holy Week? Well, during all of Lent, each of us has been inviting and challenging each other to share the light of Christ with our families, to grow that light in our families. But now the stakes are higher. Now Christ is coming to Jerusalem, and now it's time to share that light with our neighborhoods. And we're going to do that by, first of all, sharing the light of love with our neighbors in creative, safe ways. What will that look like exactly? A lot of that will be up to your initiative and to your inspiration and to your own prayer with Jesus Christ, the light of the world. Although we'll give you some suggestions along the way. And as we do that, we're going to be preparing an actual physical flame. A physical flame that I'd like you to put in some place that can be seen by your neighbors. Maybe it'll be out front of your house. Maybe it'll be from your windows. It could be with candles, or it could be with logs, or maybe something else. Make sure it's safe, but make sure it's bright. And every single day that you do something for your neighbors, or every single thing that you do for your neighbors, what I want you to do is I want you to take whatever you're going to use to light that fire. I want you to go and I want you to somehow artistically show what that encounter was, that encounter of love. Show it on your candles, maybe with stickers or with paint or with markers, or in logs by carving into those logs the different things that happened. It doesn't have to be intricate, it doesn't have to be complicated, just enough to remind you of that light that was shown in those moments. Because on Saturday night before Easter, we're going to light these flames. And when we light these flames, we're actually bringing Christ's light and letting Christ's light radiate from our own acts of love to our neighborhood. May God bless all of you, and looking forward to seeing the light of Christ reign in your families and in your neighborhood. God bless you. So one more thing I want to share is a little resource I found. It's a resource in the form of an app called The Chosen. And that app is actually 8 episodes, 8 45-minute episodes of the life of Christ with his apostles. It's free. It's something that individuals have paid forward so all of us can participate and see this wonderful film that people have put together. And episode 8 in particular is the episode about the Samaritan woman. I'd like to invite all of us to watch that episode as we get ready to think about what type of fires we're going to light and what we're going to do in order to share the light of Christ with our neighbors. Watch that episode and see how Christ encounters that woman of Samaria. See how Christ lights her light on fire, and see how Christ marches into that town of Samaria to light his light in the hearts of all those people. May that story inspire all of you to find creative ways again to share his light with your neighbors, and to share that symbolic light of those fires we're going to light on Saturday night with all of them.